All right, guys. How you guys doing? Welcome back to J Will Trap TV. I'm your boy J Will. I hope you guys like those comments that that you guys left behind. You guys, I appreciate it. I was telling y'all, trap those comments. Tap in, y'all tapped in for your boy. I appreciate it. Now look, I see that some of you guys are saying that your boy was wrong about something, okay? So I'm gonna tell you guys what I think, okay? As you can see, that last comment from one of our subscribers, Grace Skincore, okay? I'm sorry if I'm saying your name right. From Grace. She got the knowledge for y'all, okay? It was never verbatim said, guys. And as in my response, if Scrap went over there, right? Which side, or he was a spy for Rock. Well, if Neek tells him they about to light up the showcase and Kanan's there, for sure Rock don't want to know that. And they gonna shut that down before it even happens. So that's not what happened. So go back and watch that, y'all. There's never, I've been through this up and down making videos for y'all. There's never a scene where Rock said, yeah, he was over there, I sent them there. Point it out, I'll shout you out. Also, shout out to Miranda Walker. Yes, we're a young channel, thanks for the subscribers. Guys, we're at 20 subscribers now, up from 0, zip. And I did not post this on my Instagram, guys. None of my real life friends are here, just so you guys know. Anyway, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, and put a notification bell so you can go live. Today, we're gonna be talking about the Lou, Jessica kind of crown love triangle and where we're going after all this, okay? So make sure you guys tap in, let's go. Okay, let's start with Lou. So we all know who Lou is. He's the de facto #2 in the Thomas organization. He's an enforcer, he's handsome, he's well-respected on the streets by his men, Neek's crew, and even businessmen like Cartier Sharif. Lou is extremely loyal to the Thomas family and maintaining its empire. However, he wants more than that. After meeting Jessica, she inspires him to become a music mogul. She tells him to get out of this drug game and get into a more legitimate business because he's super talented. Lou decides to embrace this and starts to get involved with assisting Bulletproof Records with throwing an artist showcase. When we see Lou first meet Crown, the owner of Bulletproof Records, we see that he's just selling Crown drugs. Lou eventually starts helping with the record label's finances, and eventually he becomes a 50-50 part owner by force with Crown. Shortly after Lou becomes 50-50 partners with Crown, there's an attempt on his life made by Worrell and Neek's crew. As a result, Lou is hospitalized with heavy-degree burns and he's in a coma. When Lou awakens from his coma, the city is under siege after the Detective Howard's shooting by Kanan. Lou goes to meet with Rock, and after finding out that Rock had Kanan shoot Howard, he's disillusioned with all of the drug business and pleads with her to get out of the game. She rejects it and says that she's in it until he dies. Lou gets back into the car with Jessica, and here Jessica kind of tells Lou that, hey, Rock's reign is gonna end badly. Eventually, all this is gonna come tumbling down. Lou, you're so talented. You're doing so much for yourself. You need to get out of this now and just focus on your music. Lou, unbeknownst to Jessica, Lou was just talking about all of this to Rock, and Rock rejected it. She says that she said that she will never let him leave the game, and Lou's just kind of stuck. And Lou can't even tell her about this conversation because he can't tell her what kind of conversations he's having with Rock. He can't tell her that he wanted to get out. He's so loyal to her that all he can do is just tell Jessica just to shut up and drive. And not just shut up and drive. He threw a F word in there. So when we come back to season 2 with Lou, we can see that he's fully committed to the Rock organization. He's doing this music, and he's still trying to reason with Rock and kind of let her know that, hey, I want to do both of these things. This legitimate business can turn into something better for us, and we can get out of this drug game and we can go home free. Rock still doesn't support any of this, and she's kind of looking at the, hey, what's making money kind of thing, and if the studio isn't making money, she doesn't care. When it comes to Lou and Jessica, they are still together, but they're having some tough disagreements about Famous. Jessica keeps on saying, hey, Lou, I need you to kind of push Famous more, get more marketing behind him, help him become this major artist. And Lou's kind of like, hey, man, this dude's mixtapes aren't selling. We've already done everything we can for this guy. He's smoking a bunch of bud. He ain't writing. I'm not getting behind him unless he's a real creative artist who displays artistry. After this argument where Lou kind of takes off on Jessica, we see him meet a new girl singing in her car named Zisa. He immediately tries to start a relationship with her, a platonic one, and get her to sign with his label. Later, when we see Lou first introduce Zisa to Crown, Jessica, and Famous, they're all kind of surprised and opposed to the whole idea for different various reasons, which we'll get into later. However, Lou he believes in himself, he believes in his decisions, and he wants to continue to work with her, continue to work with Zisa. Later, when we see Crown and Lou discussing Zisa, Crown starts to tell Lou he doesn't hear what he's hearing in Zisa's voice, that she's not really that cream of the crop, and that they need to kind of work together and be a democracy when they're making these decisions on artists. Lou says, hey, because he's financing the operation, he has a much bigger say, and that he's just gonna have to kind of roll with whatever Lou says. During that conversation, Cartier shows up, and this is when Lou and Cartier make that deal for a single with Zisa, and if the single does well enough, Zisa will be able to sign with Bulletproof. So Lou is really taking a risk here, putting a lot of resources into this artist. He doesn't know if he's gonna be guaranteed, and Crown is on the side getting upset at Lou, saying, man, we just got suckered because this is not even a guaranteed deal. How do we know this is gonna work? So later on, and remember, this is from Lou's point of view, we see, Jessica, comes to visit him. They have an intimate little, sex session. And then she kind of pulls off a little early and she tells him that she's leaving. She's going to California, and that Crown got her a job in a management company at a record label. And Lou doesn't, fly off the handle, but he's, pretty upset. And he says, oh, you're selling out for Hollywood. You're selling out on your brother. How are you going to just leave like that? And, Jessica says, she didn't want to fight, but this is what it is. She's going. No one here is doing anything for her. And then Lou just tells her to get the hell out the studio. We see Crown, Juke, and Lou in the studio working together. Juke is singing. Crown expresses to Juke that she has an amazing voice, but her look isn't good. Like, if she's going to want to make it in this industry, she's going to have to kind of look, a little bit more sexy, look a little bit more, exotic out there to, her listeners. And, of course, Juke is opposed to this, but also more than Juke, Lou stands up for his niece and says, you can't talk to her like that. But he kind of half agrees and says, yeah, he's kind of right, Juke. You are beautiful, but, you're going to, if you want to be successful in this music stuff, you're going to have that look. Lou then turns to Crown and he starts to get on him. He kind of checks him and goes like, hey, man, I don't want to hear your advice. Don't be talking to my niece like that. And you had some, advice from my girl, Jessica. You're the one who got her a job in Cali. You seem to just kind of be doing everything, out of pocket. And Crown says, oh, don't hate on me, bro. I would have done that for anybody, including you. So, but, when he said that, we know what's going on behind the scenes. So that's the last we've seen of Lou in respect to, these three characters. Now let's talk about Lou's motivations. So we know, Lou, he's a street gangster, street hustler, but he wants more than that. He meets Jessica and she sees this talent in him. And she tells him, hey, this guy Crown is doing this thing. I think you can do it too. And even when Lou says, well, this dude's been doing this since he was in high school, blah, 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 she says, it doesn't matter. It's just like selling product. You can do this. I believe in you. You're talented. So ever since then, Lou, he cares about Jessica, but he also cares about this music. But he's been asking Jessica a lot because, Jessica is always kind of pushing her brother and pushing what she wants to do. And as she should, these girls can't just be flowers, man. It's nice to see a woman. It's nice to have a woman who has something going on for herself, but he still wants more from her. He wants her to focus more on him and do more for him. Lou is a man who demands loyalty. He's all about loyalty. So he wants someone who reciprocates the same thing to him. He doesn't want to walk in the studio and see you hanging out with Crown and he don't know you there. Now, it's a good thing, you got to remember, we're in the 90s. We don't got cell phones on this show. But you could at least hit him up on the beeper and let him know, hey, I'm at the studio. Okay. All right, so now let's check out Crown. Let's look at Crown. Let's see what he's all about. So when we first meet Crown, he's working in the studio with, mentoring a bunch of artists. The things we know about Crown just by watching the show, he's not really like a gangster, not really a street dude. He's gonna back down to violence. When Lou pulled out the strap on him and made him give up the business, he didn't really resist, right? Also, too, he likes to party, he likes to do drugs, and he likes women. We've seen him hanging out with various women. We've seen that, when Jessica first walked up, he was really attracted to her, and he even went after her knowing who Lou is, man. We know who this boy Lou is on the streets. When we first see him in the studio, Lou comes in, drops off the drugs, gives him the drugs. He's happy to see the drugs and stuff. But then he starts talking to Jessica. He's rapping with Jessica. She's talking about her brother, et cetera, et cetera. Later, Jessica brings Famous back. They're all in the studio. They're doing stuff. They're listening to music. And then that's when we first have his studio engineer start complaining about not being paid and et cetera, et cetera. That's when Lou does the first loan, and Crown jumps, Crown doesn't tell Lou, hey man, I don't need your money. He takes the money, right? He takes the money. And he doesn't try to take too much at first, but then, as things are going, he just keeps taking. We have the showcase come up and, Lou's there. Crown's sending all the vendors over to Lou so Lou can pay to set up everything, right? So, Lou's investing a lot in Bulletproof Records, and Crown is irresponsibly just kind of letting this drug lord invest without thinking about the repercussions of letting, a drug lord or borrowing money from a drug lord. Another thing that Crown does a lot is he's always like kind of flirting with Jessica. In that scene, Lou catches them alone and he's kind of pulling that Irv Gotti vibe. We got to work really close together if you want your brother to be a successful artist. He's there, but to get him there, I got to work with him. And for that, we need to get really close together. Give me a hug, all that stuff. And then Lou sees it and he's not happy. The showcase pops off. We see Crown doing drugs a little bit. He's pretty happy his artists do well, and he's able to escape after all the chaos. I also noticed too, and this kind of speaks more to his character. You remember how I told you guys he's not really like a street guy or a fighter or a shooter. So if you guys pay attention, when they're coming down to the showcase and Lou's out there telling them, hey, there's no guns in here, everybody got to get checked. Lou's in the front and Crown is in the back. And remember, this is half of Crown's event. He's not standing there side by side telling Lou how it's going to go. He's in the back letting Lou handle that enforcer role. So after that showcase, the next time we see Crown, he's just hanging out in the studio with a bunch of folks having like a little party. And Lou rolls up with the lawyer. This is when Lou gets a little, frisky, shows the pistol and kind of threatens him, lets him know, hey, if you don't sign these papers, if you don't turn my debt into a investment, you might not walk out this room alive. So, Crown, like I said, he's not a fighter, not a street dude. He's a professional artist. He's a producer. So he's not gonna kind of press that like that. That's not really his avenue. So he ends up signing. After this scene where Crown loses 50% of his record label, we don't see him anymore for the rest of the season. But in season 2, 3 months later, Crown is still partners with Lou. They're still working on artists. However, Famous is kind of fizzled out. He's not doing well, and they're not really putting a lot of resources behind him. When Lou introduces Zisa to everybody, Crown is opposed to this because he wasn't really given any say. Right after the scene where Lou introduces Zisa, Lou starts working with Zisa, but then Crown and Jessica disappear. We find out they're at Crown's house having sex. During this sex scene, Crown tells Jessica he got her a job in California. She debates the job, and he doesn't want her to leave, but she's pretty much going anyway. A few days later, we see, Lou and Crown in the studio. Crown is listening to that session that Lou had with her while he was hanging out with Jessica. And he's just telling Crown is telling Lou that, yo, man, this girl not all right, but she ain't all that. What are you hearing? What are you listening? What are you hearing when you hear this girl? That's when Cartier walks in. They do the single deal, and Crown's pissed because Crown is like, yo, I know this kind of stuff. I've been here. This kind of deal is for suckers. We will not get Zisa guaranteed, even if we do well. Even though Cartier is saying, well, if you get this high, then, maybe I'll work with you. Crown, I feel like he's been here before. This has happened to him before. He's past this. He's not trying to have this happen to him again. During another session with Cartier, Zisa, and Lou, Rock shows up at the studio, and she pulls Lou out, and she's really upset. Crown goes to listen in on this, and then this is where he kind of finds out, oh, okay, Rock needs him out on the streets. Rock doesn't want him in the studio. So later, we see Crown pull up on Rock. He walks past Kanan and Famous, and he tells Famous, hey, maybe I can help you out with this. And Crown is actually a nice guy. He's always trying to help people. Like, he really is. He's trying to make money and do his business, but he does try to help people. He does try to help people. Even like with the whole Lou situation kind of being taken over, he's still working with the guy. And he disagrees with them, and he tries to give input. He's like, it's still his business. He still wants it to be successful. So, that's the deep character aspect of Crown that I do like. So back to Crown meeting with Rock. So where he goes to meet with Rock, and Rock doesn't even have time for this guy. She's like, yo, I'm busy. My stash just got jacked, bro. I don't want to deal with it. But then he's like, yo, we got a mutual problem that we can both fix. Let me talk. So then she brings him inside, and he tells her, hey, Lou, having Lou since Lou's been in the studio, I know it hasn't been good for you, and it definitely isn't good for me. So how about I sell you a stake of my half for very little? You run money through it so you can launder your money and all this stuff. But you just got to get Lou out of there. I just don't want him there. He's just screwing everything up. I got to shut down this single deal. He's ready to go. He also asked Rock to keep the meeting a secret because this guy is scared of Lou. Like, he is afraid of being killed by Lou. Remember, he did ask Jessica, hey, what do you think Lou would do if he found out about us? And she says, like, bro, that fool's gonna blow your head off. And then he's like, what do you mean? I run the studio. And she's like, dog, Lou's learning. Lou be learning. Lou's learning, and he is learning. So, he's scared. He's asking Rock, yo, keep this under wraps. Rock said she's gonna keep it under wraps. But this is not a good situation because Rock does not care about this guy. He has no need for him. If something goes wrong, that's it. So we got Crown. So Crown, we ran through his story. His motivations, when we see this guy, he's just a guy in the studio. He's just a guy in the studio. He's a playboy. He's trying to make money. He's trying to make it big. He's trying to be, the next P. Diddy. And, he kind of looks like Blueface. But that's what he's trying to do. He's not really trying to do anything. He's into women. He's into partying, and he's into, getting bigger in his business, right? Nothing too crazy or ambitious like some of our other characters. All right, guys, last but not least, Jessica, okay? Jessica, and I'm not biased, I'm not saying like I'm super attracted to this girl, but there are some things about this character that I like, and so let's get into it. So we first meet Jessica in the restaurant in season 1 where Kanan's family is hanging out at. Famous walks up, introduces himself and Jessica to everybody. Kanan's family asks Jessica and Famous to stay for dinner. Jessica sits next to Lou, and there's some immediate attraction, immediate chemistry there, right? Once they go outside, they're all talking, and a shooting starts to happen. And Lou's over there spitting game at Jessica, asking her if she's cold and whatnot. But when the shooting happens, he dives on her, protects her, shields her from the bullets. And when they get up, she says, hey, no one has ever done something like that for me before. And after this ordeal, they become an item. We next see Jessica on Lou's side when she meets Crown. This is when they first kind of have that interaction, right? And right after they have that interaction, the next scene we see with them, with Jessica and Lou, is Jessica's telling Crown, hey, you've been kind of quiet since I met your friend. Lou says, hey, that ain't my friend, that's an associate. And you can do what you want, you can network, you can do whatever. But then, this is where Jessica inspires Lou to do music. She goes, hey man, you can do the same thing that dude was doing down there. Selling these drugs is the same thing as selling music. You just gotta do it. You got a lot of talent. You're really talented. People like you. People wanna be around you, And I like this about her because she is really into her man. Like, she's really pushing him, trying to, make him. And I'm telling you, every man needs a woman like this, who's telling them in their ear, whispering like, hey, that thing that you're doing is cool, but you can do so much more, and I'm here for you. So the next time we see Jessica, she's back in the studio now. She's brought Famous to work with Crown. Crown is doing the creepy Irv Gotti thing. Lou sees it. Lou takes her outside. Lou's like, yo, what's going on here? What kind of business is this? And then she says like, hey, I'm promoting my brother. I'm trying to put my brother on just how your sister put you on. I have aspirations. I want to do something with myself. I don't want to just be your girl. I'm trying to be a manager, And then she tells Lou, yeah, I'm not going to wait for you on your music stuff. You need to get it together. Get in here. You can do this right now. What are you waiting for? And that's how that scene, and they end on good terms in that scene, and that's how that scene ends. So that's when Lou gets in, that's when he starts loaning him money, that's when he starts getting in deeper because she opened that door for him. So fast forward to the showcase, right? And we don't see a lot of Jessica at the showcase, but one scene I wanted to point out is we see her and she's telling Nicole, she tells Crown to, tell his friends to stop being so obnoxious. But also she tells Nicole, like, hey man, do what you want. If you want to smoke, go ahead and smoke. You want to drink, go ahead and drink. But basically she's saying like, have confidence about yourself. Don't feel so scared around here. Be Be who you are. After the chaos of the showcase, she gets to escape with Lou. Lou helps her escape. They ride home in the nice car. I'm not going to get into what they do in the back of the car. You guys can probably guess. But yeah, they get home. We don't see Jessica for a while because, we have the attempt on Lou's life, and the next time we see her is in a hospital. When she's in a hospital, these scenes, she's here the whole time, unless Rock tells her to leave, right? So she's always there. She's like, hey, like I've been here all day. I was gonna go home and take a shower, but they said he might wake up, so I've been hanging out. When Lou does wake up, she's the only one there. She's sleeping on his lap. She's been there the entire time, looking after her man, making sure he's okay, waiting for him to wake up. And she's really concerned because he was supposed to wake up the previous day, but he had not woken up. So when he does wake up, she's very excited and very happy. Once all the chaos starts though, with Howard shooting, Lou wants to leave the hospital and go see Rock. Jessica is pretty much against it, but it's her man. She's gonna do what she says, but she's worried about him. She's worried about his health. He's walking around.
What the fuck are you doing, Lou?
He's walking around all crazy. She's like, yo, you need to be in the hospital. On the way to Rock's place, they're riding in the car, and some dudes pull up and they're listening to Famous track. Famous goes, no, don't listen to anybody. But then she's like, hey, they're listening to music, and she congratulates both of them. She's like, hey, good job, Fame. Good job, Lou. And he said he's hurt, but he's smiling, and that is a good scene because everybody's feeling good. They're seeing the fruits of their labor. It seems like things are looking good, right? So when they get to the projects, Lou tells them wait out there. Lou goes up, meets with Rock, has that whole conversation where he's trying to get out. She won't let him go. They come back. Now they're talking in the car, and like when I watch this scene, I get upset because I feel bad for Jessica because she's like trying to encourage him, like, hey, look at all this, like this is what you want to be, this is like what you want your life to be about, going forward, like this is like one of these nights, this is gonna be you. They all rolling around about the cops, like, if someone gets shot or something, right? And then he's like, yo, just shut up, because she doesn't understand the position that he's in. He's in this game. He can't get out this game, right? He just can't. Like, he cannot get out the game. He wants to do all these things that she sees in him. He believes her when she tells him that he's talented, but it's just these circumstances, you just can't get out of it. Like, once you're in the game, you can't get out. That's the last time we see her in season 1. Starting in season 2, the first time we see her is her and Lou. They're still together 3 months later. They're arguing. They're arguing about Famous. She's saying that Famous needs more resources, more marketing, more structure. He's saying that he can't keep spending money on Famous because, number one, his mixtapes aren't doing good. And number two, he's smoking pot all day and he's not writing. He's not going to put him in the studio unless he comes up with material and he's looking like a real artist. He disagrees. She's trying to, be there for her brother, trying to be a manager, be, his biggest cheerleader. And Lou just isn't having it, and he leaves. So the next time we see Jessica, she's in the studio. And this is after, of course, Lou met Zisa. So they're in the studio. And again, she's pushing more Famous. She's like, hey, Crown, don't you think we didn't put enough marketing behind him? And then, of course, Crown's like, yeah, there wasn't enough marketing. But, we got to make sure our money's going to the right spot. Then all of a sudden, Lou's like, oh, well, we got to invest correctly. And he brings in Zisa. And everybody's like kind of surprised by her. But one thing I will say that kind of hit her hard if you watch this scene, and I'll zoom in on this for you guys. Lou brings her in and says, this is my new girl
right here.
Look. So she says, this is my new girl. And she's you can tell, she's like shocked when he says that. And then the very next scene we see her in, because remember, Lou stays with her and works in the studio, and then we see, we don't see Crown and them leave, but then we cut, we see just Lou and Zisa working in the studio, and then, Juke pops in. But then right after that, we see Crown and Jessica having sex. So they must have like just left the studio, and Crown must have hit her up outside like, hey. Then they just went and did it. Then he told her about the job. And it kind of seems like maybe they've had, some more of a, I'm not sure if this is the first time they slept together or if they've just been doing it the whole time. But it seems like they definitely, if they're working on that job aspect or getting her that job, there's definitely been something going on between these 3 months that everybody's been, away. So we know that Jessica is like, kind of like in a position where she's like, yo, I gotta go. There's nothing out here for me. So later on, we see her meet with Lou, they have an intimate scene. And she tells Lou hey, I'm going to California. I'm going to go be a manager. Crown helped me get this job. Nothing's going good out here for me. No one's doing anything for me. And I'm on my way out. So Lou's upset. He calls her a sellout. I already said this, calls her a sellout, sold out for Hollywood. He's upset that she's leaving Famous behind. So after Jessica tells Lou how she feels and that, nothing's going good for her out here, they pretty much leave on bad terms. Lou's like, get the hell out of here. They end on bad terms, which is sad. And the last time we see Jessica is she's out with her family. She's talking to her mom. Her mom is telling her, hey, there is nothing here for you. Leave and don't look back. You're going to be fine. You're going to be great. You're beautiful. She talks to Famous. She tells Famous that she hopes he doesn't give up on his music. And she also, he says that he's going to blow up without her. And she says, I hope you do. I hope you do blow up. I want you to blow up. So, she is very positive despite the fact that no one wants to see her go. But, that's how she leaves, And, honestly, I thought it was an all right ending. At least she didn't get, shot, right? Most people in power don't make it out alive. You know what I mean? So let's talk about her motivations, right? She's more motivated than a lot of folks in the show. Since the second you met her, they said that she moved. She was not from around there. She moved from living with her father over here. So she was looking for something. She was on a mission. She wasn't just there, right? Now she did, start a relationship with Lou where she brought out a lot in him. She was very outgoing. Lou was always saying, oh, you're not a good girl. You need to focus more on me. But when he got that attempt on his life, she was there and she was motivating him. But she was, motivating him with the music. But when he got that attempt on his life, she was there. She was literally asleep on his freaking body, and then he woke up and she was the one that was there. She was really outgoing, drove him down there, even after all the whole Howard shooting. She, tried to tell him, get out of this, get out of this, get out of this. So I wish Lou kind of seen that more. Now, she did cheat on him, which I don't agree with. I don't think that was okay. In her defense, he kind of walked in and said, this is my new girl, but it seemed pretty platonic. Maybe she should have talked to him about it and not just left with Crown and done that immediately. But it happened, okay? Women, it happened. It happens, No one's perfect. It happens. I'm sure, I don't know if Lou's done anything, but I don't know. We don't see everything, right? So overall, I think, she was a good woman to Lou. I don't think, the way Lou characterized it was as close to how it was, because what I seen, she was there for him. Most of her scenes were with him. Last thing. Female characters are always better in TV shows when they have more to do than be a damsel in distress. Giving her a lot of motivation stopped her from being a flower on the wall, and I really enjoyed Jessica's character. So let's give her a round of applause, and hopefully she comes back and we get some more closure on this whole situation. Let's look at everybody. Where's all this going? Where's everybody going? So will Lou be successful with the music? I think so, yes. I think Lou's gonna be really successful with the music. Well, I don't know about really, but I think he's gonna get to a point where he's gonna be on the sunset of success, like James St. Patrick. He's gonna be there, everything's coming, governor, all this stuff, everything's gonna be coming together, and then all of a sudden, Rock's decisions at the last moment will tragically cause him to lose his life or lose everything. That's what I think will happen. It's gonna happen with Lou in the end game. When it comes to Crown is playing with fire. Okay, not only is he slept with Jessica, which when Lou finds out, he's not gonna be happy about, but now he's over here trying to give Rock a stake in the business. She's gonna launder money through the business. Rock does not care about Crown. She sees him as expendable. I don't think it's a good decision to get locked in with Rock. And then on top of that, you let Famous see you walk in there. This guy has the biggest mouth. I swear to God, he will say it in the song. Just seen Crown walked up to the Rock's house, tried to go with, no, yeah, I can't rap. Stop rap. They'll probably put it in the song, okay? And somehow I'm sure Lou will find out that information from Famous. So that's a prediction right there, guys. That's a prediction. Let's see if it comes true. And Jessica, is Jessica really gone? I don't know. So I did some research into this. I did some Googling. So Jessica is gonna be on a new show called Tell Me Lies in September. So that's starting in September on Hulu. So sounds like she has a big role in that show. So it sounds like maybe she had to leave the show early so she can be on that one. So if you guys like Jessica, you guys wanna see her, go check her out on Hulu on September 7th on Tell Me Lies. Okay guys, so that's my analysis. That's my analysis of this little love triangle. It's pretty much over now. Crown's probably gonna die. Lou's gonna continue on with the music. Let me know what you guys think, guys. Drop it in the the comments. I appreciate all the love. 18 subscribers. Let's keep going up. All right, guys. Catch you later. Peace.